Well, this is, for me, one of the most imaginative, magical, iconic, and immersive films of all time. And I think it's correctly regarded as one of the greats. It's, as mentioned, universally adored, endlessly homaged, parodied, and referenced. And I'm one of the people where it's basically in your DNA. You know, there's the aforementioned astounding set design, brilliant characters with a universal appeal, and an overall presentation that's meant to cause awe and wonder. The change up from the black and white of Kansas to the bright Technicolor of Oz, as I mentioned earlier, has to be one of the first and best examples of movie magic that still endures and that we all love. I think at the core of it, the film is kind of ridiculous, but all of it works because there's a really dedicated open-heartedness to it and childlike wonder. But there's also this deep undercurrent of something darker underneath throughout. And maybe some of that comes through because if you know the off-screen drama and tragedy, some of which we talked about creeping in, perhaps some of that. But that also will go back to the fact that I think L. Frank Baum was writing his equivalent of Grimm's fairy tales for a new country, world, and century. I really don't get why so many people try to adapt the property and they always go for gritty and dark. I don't get that at all, because the thing that actually makes this movie magic and interesting and one of the all-time greats for me is how dark everything is underneath the bright Emerald City and the Yellow Brick Road.
Well, people do the same thing for every Brothers Grimm fairy tale, right? Like,
right. Well, dark under dark is not special. Dark under bright can be truly extraordinary. Look at David Lynch, right? Look at David Lynch. Perfect example of that. I think it's a high watermark for world building and for fantasy and adventure films. And it was really a blast to get to talk about it with KT, who never saw it until now as an adult, because we rarely get that experience. And anytime I see someone, it's like, oh, you haven't seen that. I'm never like, oh, you haven't seen that. It's like, oh, you haven't seen that. That's cool. You're going to get to see this for the first time, experience this for the first time.